Well, we've run into a problem with the new third-party replacement headlamps in the Model 3. After I got them in and did the software update and the lights came on and I was able to adjust them, I got them adjusted perfectly. And for the first time since ownership of this Tesla, we had two perfectly pointed functioning headlights, and I drove it that night and it was great. It's nice to have real lighting. That lasted exactly that one trip. For that one brief shining moment, I had headlights. 2 or 3 days later, I had another opportunity to drive at night, pulled out of the garage, and the driver's side light is pointed to the sky and crooked. So I park in front of the garage and I go into the settings to the service menu to recalibrate the lights, and it will only go down a little bit. So what has happened is the LED matrix part of the headlamp got jostled in its socket and is now pointed in a weird way, and the motor that can move it up and down can only move it down a little bit from its bad moored position. And not only that, but it's also crooked by about 30 degrees, as you can see in the picture I've got here. So I've contacted the seller on Amazon, and they will send me a replacement when I send them this one back. Well, being a Chinese part, and it's just heading into this tariff situation, if I send them back this, how many weeks, if ever, will I get the replacement? So I'm worried about that. But looking into more forums about people who've had this problem, a lot of people had had success with headlights where the light stopped working by replacing the ballast. And so here's my thought. These are the old ones. This is the driver's side, and this is the passenger side. The driver's side is the one that went out, where the LED matrix went out. When you start the car, it comes on for a second and then blinks out. The right side one functions, but it's also got a wonky pointing situation. It's actually pointed too low. So I'm going to try taking the ballast off of the right-hand side one, putting it on the left-hand one. And then when I take the front end of the Tesla apart again to remove the third-party driver's side headlight, I'll put this original one back in and cross my fingers and hope it works. Because if it does, then that at least lets me send back the other third-party one and wait for the replacement. And then if this continues to work and the colors match with the other light, I'll just leave it in until and if it fails again. There's just 4 Torx screws, and I already sized them. They are T20s. And I know when I get in here, there's a big ass connector, multi-pin connector, like 25 pins on it or something. And I've got to be careful to make sure I don't break or damage. These screws are pretty loose. Okay, that's kind of tight in there. Let me show you what this looks like. I think this is a lever. A tab and a lever. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there's probably more like 30 pins in there. Set that aside. Try to remember which one is which. I think I want to get this off the table. Right side unit. There we go. Oh, okay. Good one, bad one. Good one over here. Goes in with a very satisfying click. I do like that. Left these tighter than I found them, but not too much. There's the left unit, the changed ballast. Now when I get around to taking the front end apart again, pull that other light out, put this one in, we'll see if it works. All right, took the front end off. I did not take everything apart. I tried to do only one side, take off the bolts in the top, and the tabs on the side, and the bolt on the bottom corner, and 2 of the tabs under there, thinking I could get it out enough. But because of the big old lip on the bottom of that light, that wasn't enough. So I had to do the same over on this side, and that got it enough that I could wiggle that light in and out. Anyway, the original light is back in with the swapped ballast, and the light still behaves exactly the same. When the headlight is turned on, it goes on for a second and then blinks off. So I'm going to leave the car in this state until this box returns. I have to send this back to the vendor on Amazon and wait for them to replace it. And who knows how long that'll be. In the meantime, this is the state of my Tesla. So the light sagas on the Tesla continue, along with some trunk hassles. Started off innocently enough. I just wanted to replace this taillight. See that crack there? When it's wet, that gets condensation in it. And just like the front headlights, I ordered a third-party headlight on Amazon. It's like $100 or less versus the $400 from Tesla. And it should be really simple to replace. You just pop out 2 bolts and take the top bumper stop off, and it comes out, and you put it in the new one. Well, the problem started when I tried to open the trunk. It does this. Does not go up. If I force it up, well, if I force it up, I'm pushing against the motor in there, and it will go up. And when I close it, it slams shut really hard and fast. So I put in a service for that, and along the way I told them about this issue, which is what's happened is the bump stop, when I unscrewed it, it just tore the stud out of its hole. So I no longer have a bump stop I can put here. So I added that to the repair order, and that added like $400 plus a service visit instead of it being mobile. So I'm going to try to do this service myself. The Tesla service manual has a guide on how to fix this, so it must be a common thing that this rusts out. And it involves cleaning out this whole getting the rust out of it, painting it with etching primer, drilling it out, prepping it with etching primer, putting a bolt up through the bottom underneath it, and using structural automotive adhesive to hold it in place, and then screwing a new bump stop on. I've sourced all those bits from various places, and I think I'm ready to do it. So here's a look at all the stuff I've bought for this little project. Taillight itself, of course. The bonding adhesive and a cheap applicator. Rust-Oleum primer with self-etching. My bolts and a replacement bump stop, some masking tape, and the other things I already have. After more hassle than I expected, I got the light out. These grommets are actually kind of tight, so pulling it out took some force that was scary. So I thought I was going to bust something, but it didn't. The grommets look fine. The other thing that looks fine is, after cleaning up, this hole is not rusty. So I'm going to do some light sanding, very light sanding, and then put the primer on there. And I'm also thinking this hole, it's a little jagged, but I'll clean that up just a little bit. But it's exactly the right size to kind of self-tap the M6 bolt up from the bottom through it. And I'm still going to use the structural adhesive on the back of the head, but I think that I'm going to screw it into place so it'll both be screwed and glued, so to speak. All right, I've got the primer on there, 3 coats. Gonna let that dry for a little while, and then take that masking tape off and get ready to put the screw in. Okay, well, I've never used this structural adhesive stuff before, and it's such a shame. I had to get this big old container of it, which is actually the smallest they sell, and I need just a tiny little dab of it around inside of this bolt head. So you push on this and it squeezes these 2 tubes, and then they mix down this shaft and come out as a mixture. Oh, I see some. Okay, I see it coming through there. That's interesting. Wow, look at it mixing. It's getting harder to pull on. Okay, we're close to the edge. That's literally all I needed, was that. And it seems to have gone in. As you can see, screw is in place. There's even a little bit of that black adhesive coming up through the screw hole. That did screw in there pretty well without tearing up the threads. It just happens to be just the size. So I think I've done a pretty decent job. One part of the instructions, it said before you put that screw in to put the light back on, and I was like, why do they want to do that? And then it struck me. It's so that when you put this screw in here and it's only held on with the adhesive, you're not trying to push this over top of this and end up pushing it back into the body. That wasn't a concern for me because of my screw and glue method, but I still went ahead and put the light on first. So I think I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna put the bump stop on there, see if I can get the trunk to close, and then just let it be, because it's got a cure for a long time for that automotive adhesive is set. Now to find out if the new blinker works. Okay, we're gonna call that job done. Scratch that one off of the Tesla service list. Okay, a little over a week later, after trying to resurrect the original headlight with the ECU ballast from the other light and that not working, I have received my replacement light from the vendor on Amazon. And now I have to take the original one out again, put the replacement in again, and hope that it works. Okay, it's in. But do it work? Okay, as of now, just the right light is working. Not totally surprising. I haven't told it to reload the software into that ECU yet. That's next. Okay. Moment of truth. I'm going to press the brake pedal. Do both lights come on? Yes. Now to pull it out of the garage, point it at the garage, see if I get them leveled. All right, that's pretty faint up there, but it's flickering like crazy because it's LED. That's how it came out of the box. I think I'm going to leave it right there because it pretty much lines up with the right side. Maybe a tad higher, but I'm going to leave it right as it is. I'm not going to mess with it. Well, that's it. It's all buttoned back up. Hoping I don't have to take that front end off again. Every time I do, it feels like it's not quite as tight as it was before. Now to wait for night. Okay, enough time has passed that I think we can wrap this saga up. This headlight has been working good for a week or so. And you can see I've got that little notch on the left side for the opposing traffic, which is the way it should be. I've actually tested the adaptive headlights since that update came out, and those seem to work too. Although I'm a little worried about turning it on because it just exercises those LEDs more, and I don't want to give them any reason to fail. Anyway, that's all wrapped up, and I guess I ought to say also that the trunk problem has been solved by the Tesla repair people. It cost me a couple $100 to have them replace that trunk arm that closes it, and that now works well too. So that about wraps it up. We've got a good working car again. Let's hope that it stays that way for a while. Thanks for watching.